Howdy folks, I'm the Roleplay Gamer and I like to party. Welcome to Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Why am I playing this? Well, firstly, it's just such a fantastic game. And secondly, I want to stress the limits of my system. It's one of the few games that I'm aware of and that I own that will actually use 100% of your GPU. In fact, you can crank it to use up to 6 gigabytes of VRAM. I, of course, have 8 with my R9 390, so I thought, it's a match made in heaven. It's doing well so far. Ultra max settings, it doesn't go below 60. It's pretty good. It's smooth as butter. But that's not why we're here. This is just some fancy visuals for you. But ultimately, I want to talk about open world games and where they sit as a genre. So of course, spurred on by the fact that I'm playing Shadow of Mordor again, and Mad Max, I want to finish that game. I didn't actually finish it in the first place because it got a little bit grindy and repetitive for me, and I sort of lost interest. But I'm going to make a concerted effort to finish it now that I have my new computer, and it's sort of a nice incentive to max out all the graphics and make it look nice and whatnot. So spurred on by these two games that are very similar in structure, and I think that's no surprise that they are, considering the publisher, if I'm not very much mistaken. It sort of got me thinking about open world games as a genre and whether they're even a genre at all. I was tempted to say whether they deserve to be a genre, and I feel like that's passing unnecessary judgment. I'm not here to judge the merit of a genre or people's life work or anything like that. I just want to talk about open world games. So for me at least, and I feel like I wouldn't be out of place suggesting that this was a widely held perception. For me, when someone says open world games as a genre, I think, Shadow of Mordor, I think Mad Max, I think the Assassin's Creed series, that sort of thing. But then I realize, hold on, they're also third-person action games. And some of them, in fact, you know what, most of them really have RPG elements. So what are they really? Are they RPGs? Are they action games? I'm tempted actually to call them action RPGs, or maybe character action games. I'll be honest, I don't really know what the definition of a character action game is. What makes it a character action game as opposed to just an action game. But that aside, I can't help but wonder, what is an open world game, and is it actually a genre, or is it like a subgenre? For example, would you call Skyrim an open world game? I have problems with that because I kind of feel like a genre should inform the mechanics, right? When you say real-time strategy, RTS, you know what it's going to be because the genre, the name pertains to the mechanics of the genre, right? So considering how different the likes of Shadow of Mordor and Skyrim or Fallout 4 are, can we really say they're in the same genre? Because I wouldn't say that Fallout 4 is necessarily an RPG anymore. I think that's a discussion for another time, but it helps us continue our argument here. So for the sake of argument, let's say that Fallout 4 is not a proper RPG. It's an open world game. It's also kind of an action game. But is it in the same genre as Assassin's Creed, or Mad Max, or Shadow of Mordor? I don't think so, because of how fundamentally different they are in the way you control them, in the way the character moves, in the moment-to-moment gameplay. So if we say for a moment that open world game is not a genre, then what is Shadow of Mordor? What is Mad Max? Like I said before, they have RPG elements, but then there's this issue of, well, what are RPG elements? Because developers want to create these games that supposedly are also RPGs, but they're not, and adding like a skill tree or something does not an RPG make. So what is an RPG? So now we're getting sort of crazy here. We're trying to figure out what the hell an open world game is, or if it's even a genre. Now we're talking about RPGs, but I feel like that's fine because I'm the roleplay gamer. Deal with it. So what makes an RPG? Can you simply throw in quote-unquote RPG elements and suddenly your game is an RPG? I don't know. I'll be honest, I kind of want to classify Shadow of Mordor as an RPG just because I like RPGs, and I like Shadow of Mordor, and it kind of gives me this justification of, well, of course I like it, because I like RPGs. But of course, that's a stupid reasoning. I can like Shadow of Mordor regardless of its genre. I don't need to justify to anyone, especially myself, why I like it. So, let's put that aside for a moment. I don't think it's an RPG, as much as I want it to be. It's a third-person action game. In an open world, right? With RPG elements. But then we go frustratingly full circle and realize that if you just scroll the mouse wheel out a little bit, that describes Fallout 4. A third-person action game in an open world with RPG elements. But hold on, a spanner has suddenly been thrown into the works. The Witcher 3 is undoubtedly an RPG. I think we can all agree to that. But it's third person. Has you controlling a single pre-made character with a personality and a backstory. Has character progression, granted, deeper character progression than Shadow of Mordor. Includes timing-based frantic combat. It's set in an open world and has really strong characters, just like Shadow of Mordor. I don't think you can deny that Shadow of Mordor, the orcs are the highlight of the whole game. They're just so full of personality. In some ways, that's my favorite part of the game, the Nemesis system. Now, before you all cry out and unsubscribe, let me just say, yes, The Witcher 3 is a masterpiece, and I don't want to compare it necessarily to Shadow of Mordor, and that's not to say that Shadow of Mordor is a substantially lesser product. It's a really good game and it's a lot of fun, and that's not to be discounted. But my point is, really, if you get right down to it, to the nuts and bolts and moment-to-moment combat, even the fact that they're kind of similarly strategic. In The Witcher, you're finding clues and brewing potions and whatnot. In Shadow of Mordor, you're being tactical in how you want to approach a stronghold and who you want to take out first, and how you're going to manage the Nemesis system and whatnot. Yes, of course, Witcher 3 is deeper in all regards, pretty much, but they're not entirely dissimilar, and that has kind of blown my mind. So, what the fuck is Shadow of Mordor? Really? Is it actually an RPG? I really just don't know anymore. I cannot answer this question, and I didn't set out to. All I want to do is put this to you guys, and I want you guys to tell me what you think. Shadow of Mordor, Mad Max, Assassin's Creed, all of those games that we just, without a second thought, class as open world games. What are they really? Are they third-person action games? Are they open world RPGs? Is open world an actual genre, or is it a subgenre of RPGs or action games? Let me know in the comments, guys, because this is messing with my head. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Taste the game, and don't forget to gently caress that like button. It needs love like everything does. Be excellent to each other, and I'll see you next time. Roleplay Gamer, out.